there. I would say good morning because I'm not sure exactly what time it is, but I need to be. Ooh, it's noon-ish. All right, so hi. Um, this is Monica, also known as Nerd Queen. I am getting ready for a gig later this afternoon, and I thought it would be a great idea to go ahead and film at least some of my ritual as I get ready for the gig. I kind of already got some of the mundane things out of the way, like take out the trash and do your chores, kind of thing, feed the cat, kind of stuff. I got this eyelash stuck in my eye, so um, I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to talk about what it means to be a creator, a performer in the real world. Okay. So there are so many creators out there right now, which I'm loving, by the way, that are doing content for social media, and that's wonderful. That's awesome. I have a background of being a performer in the real world. Okay. So I'm preparing my makeup so that I am presentable for my live gig out in the world. Um, it is paid. I've been a performer for what 20ish years now, and I can share a lot of my insights. I do coaching also. So yeah. Uh, Last night I went to practice. As I said again, I'm a performer, a musician. You'll see me pull up a mirror and stuff too every once in a while, but I'll use my camera as a mirror because one of the things I am going to do is wear my glasses to this gig because it's outside and it's in the elements. Right now it's an overcast day. It might get a little muggy, so I have to consider all of that. So, and as you can see right now, I'm dealing with an eyelash in my eye, so I can't have that anti contact pop out on me while I'm performing. So, it's gonna be me wearing glasses, kind of a gig day, and you know, kind of thing. But anyway, so last night I was going um, to my music partner's place because he had got some new equipment that we're working with. I'm in three different bands, and he is, wanting to get out there more and take what we do a lot more seriously. I'm thankful for it. And so yeah, so we were testing out equipment last night at his place, and um, I was reminding him of some things that, as you know, we all are moving more into a creative space, the challenges that we deal with. And he's been in rock bands, on and off his whole life. And what we do in our other band is more of like a traditional uh, his history restoration type thing. We do music of the South. So any genre of music that is Southern based, that's pretty much a lot of it, right? So, and then we are working on some originals. But anyway, so he is a person who's always kind of, I don't want to say, he's been sheltered around having lots of bandmates with him. And it's still new for him to be a like duo solo performer. And he was telling me about that he had last weekend. Like, I was out of town, but and how it wasn't all that great. Of course, dealing with the elements again. When you're outside, you're out there dealing with it, and other challenges that sometimes performers have, like stage fright, things of that nature. And trying to give them some insights and some tips to work on, to continue to work on. I and again, you may see me just use the camera as a mirror. um, One of the things I told him is visualization, and that's one of the things that made me nerd queen. Nerd queen. It's like I've always been a solo project, and when I am performing solo, I visualize everything from the moment that I get to the venue all the way up until I'm on the stage throughout the whole act. I'm visualizing everything. So that kind of keeps me out of stage fright mode sometimes. Um, I also have a background in vocal performance. I was either going to be an opera singer or a musical theater person. So, yeah, I tend to have a lot of background around that about how to be on stage, how to, take care of yourself really in the end. Because as you are showing off who you are as a creative person, you also want to manage your nerves and your fears and deal with whatever happens out there, because whatever you think could happen does happen. In fact, like, see, a couple of weeks ago, the last time I played at this location, I was competing against a bird, a real life bird, singing is loud. Okay. um, Dealing with the wind, dealing with the sun, dealing with the elements. Okay. And yeah, you gotta have to learn how to just be out there and be okay. I live in Atlanta, recently heard that speech from Arrested Development is not well. I wish him well. Okay. I'm friends with him on Facebook, so I've been on, following him for a while. I'm friends with another one of his, like, uh, bandmates. And it's interesting when you see how people really are and not the persona. And I've, seen him and a couple of, like I said, a couple of his other bandmates, friends, and family, dealing with real life stuff, you know? And I wish him well. So something happened over in Europe, like he was not well, and he's still trying to figure out, like, what's going on. So again, speech, I wish you well. I really do. Okay. Um, and a lot of the things that I would coach people on is how to be healthy as you are being a performer, being a person out here, in the real world. Um, and that is like nutrition, getting your proper rest, getting your mind right too. Because there's always personalities around you that they see the glitz and the glamour that TV used to show us, and they think that that's all that it is, and or they might hear of the dark side of things. And yes, there is a dark element to it, but also just being street smart or smart in general. It's like a lot of it is applicable to just regular common sense. Like, this is a job. Okay. As much as people want to glorify it and things like that, like, I wish I had like a camera person to follow me throughout how I do my own gigs and stuff. But I mean, I'm the one packing my gear up, I'm the one driving to the location, I'm the one, doing it, and I'm okay with that. But at the same time, there is, this element of being practical as a performer, and you know that kind of stuff. And I've definitely, like I said, I've coached so many people over the years. I still have a couple of videos up on my YouTube here that is at least 10 years old or 11 years old. So yeah, so take that in mind. There, things that you just kind of have to be ready for. So I do my eyes. And I know I'll have my glasses on. In fact, let me put my glasses on right now. Because, like I said, it's going to be um, this this location that I was in. Like I said, I competed against a bird. And then another location, it was super windy. Oh my gosh. I was like, so I had my eye drops and everything. So yeah, I have to have like a whole little kit with me as a performer, as a real life performer. Okay. So again, I'm not knocking, social media content creators out there, but there's some other things that performers out here in these streets, like, literally, that we got to work on and get ready for. And if if you do aspire to leave social media and be a performer, there are just things that you really have to think about and consider, and not just assume that, you know, other people are going to take care of. It's like sometimes along the way you really do have to educate yourself, know for yourself, so that you don't get, people out there trying to, take advantage of you, basically. And I will tell you a little bit of a story time of what happened to me, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, as I was out on location. And I had a gentleman, and I was telling an associate this just last night. So I had a gentleman approach me. He was an older man, like, and he had a suit on. So it wasn't like, but I'm assuming he was coming from work, and he had a suit on and he seemed nice, and I was playing songs. I was actually, it was a little bit of a difficult gig that day because, like I said, it was super windy and it was very uncomfortable. So I was kind of uncomfortable. Um, but I was still powering through. And so he approached me. He had a business card. On his card, it was like his name, his phone number, and an email address that had the Gmail tag on it also. And there was nothing really else on that card, right? And he handed me the card, he told me his name, and then he was like, "Oh, well, if you need help with copywriting and stuff like that," he's like, I can, it's like, because I was singing some of my originals. He was basically trying to, I don't know, tell me that he could help me with copywriting. And I'm like, sir, I didn't say this to him, but this is what I was thinking. I was like, I went to school for music. I I am pretty up on top of copyright law, and I know my rights, and I know how to do copyright probably a lot better than you do. And but sometimes you have to humor people, and then you also want to know where are they actually coming from, because I've had people who try to, they see your talent, and that's another thing. Be careful. People see your talent and they want to hop on. They want to be a part of the thing, right? And they might not know, they know how to put on a good face, right? They might not know nowhere near as much as what you might know, but they have this kind of uh, way of trying to impress you, like sparkle and shine, and say, "Oh, I can help you with that." I see you're singing some original song. You made that song, and this, I laugh because I'm like, songwriting is not that hard, y'all. Writing songs is not that difficult, okay? But people get really, it's very interesting sometimes. So, yeah, so he gave me his card, and then another gentleman showed up at the same time. And this is what really gets me. Like, I don't know this dude, he just handed me a card. I'm playing songs, and that's another thing. People try to talk to you while you're performing. It's so annoying. Like, I'm singing, and they see I have a guitar and a mic and all this stuff, and I'm doing the thing. And I could talk, we can have conversations around my pet peeves during live performances another day. But yeah, so this gentleman, he was standing watching, and he gave me a card, and I had to stop my singing to get the card and him talking to me. And then I went back. I try to go back to, as much, like, I don't want to get too into like having conversations because I'm working, right? I'm hired, okay? But then another gentleman approached, and he asked, "Oh, are you her manager?" And again, I'm laughing because I'm like, this is so hilarious. And then the other guy, started proceeding to say, well, I do music, this kind of this and that. And I'm not knocking people who are doing this, but I've done so much research over the years, long before social media became a thing, where we don't need gatekeepers. People use this word gatekeepers nowadays because they're lazy, quite honestly. It's like I've seen a few people use the word gatekeeping. I'm like, honey, you don't know how to open up a book. You don't know how to go to the Googles or the social, like the thing, and do this. So please open up some books, y'all. Go do your research. Some of the people that are movers and shakers out there, they're probably more approachable than you realize, and you just don't know to go out and approach them in a business like manner. Okay, and that's another thing. A lot of people don't know how to do that. So again, he was this second dude showed up and was like, "Yeah, I do music, I do this and that. You know," and I let them have a conversation because I'm working. I'm already on a paid gig. I'm just trying to continue on. Um, but I always think that's so interesting how much people want a certain thing in life, but yet they don't want to do what it takes to get there. Like really do what it takes to get there. So there's so many people who are pretenders who will try to say, "Oh, one again, I'm going to go into my pet peeves." So one of the things that I don't care for is when people try to present like this whole like open mic thing. There are some legit open mics, and then there's some that are just shady, super shady. You should not have to pay somebody $50 for 6 minutes of time. That's shady. Don't do that. Okay, so if you're out there and you think that that's the way, and somebody's presenting that to you, that's not the way. Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. You'd be better off being on social media doing what you're doing. Please don't go out there. You ruin it for the rest of us out here who are like in the real world performers. Like I need to get paid for my services and my training. So that is where, again, um, a lot of beginners, they want so badly to get out there and be seen that they will take whatever somebody is showing up and they see that you do have talent and they're trying to be like, well, I can show you the way I can do this. It's like, honey, please. And and I'm glad there's a lot of people who are, hipping themselves, getting more educated on the business, but then please be careful out there. You're going to have to do your research. And it's not as hard as it was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's really not that hard. It's really not. If you need somebody like for advice and coaching, there's tons of people like me out there. Like I'm active performing musician. Okay, an active performing musician in the real world versus on the internet. Okay, um, I coach a lot of people who are my peers, right? Like they are also active performing people in the real world performers. Okay, and so I get a lot of information. I get a lot of insight. I experience a lot of these things too. So I would say, yeah, just be careful who approaches you with a business card and what they're like hear what they're saying, but then hear what they're saying, right? I would think at this point somebody should have some kind of social. Speaking of social media, somebody should have some kind of social media presence. Depending on how serious they are, they should even have a LinkedIn. Quite honestly, okay, they should even probably have a LinkedIn. If they claim to be some kind of industry person, they need to have one, even if they're freelance. And I'm going to give you another tip. Believe it or not, think about this. A lot of actors, and this is when I was growing up and thinking about this kind of stuff when I was young, when there were actual gatekeepers, um, a lot of these creative types, they are freelancers. They are freelancers. And they pick up projects, they make their own projects, they, audition for things, So again, I'm going to add a little more makeup. Yeah, I'm trying not to go too wild tonight today. This is not a night gig. This is a daytime thing, and like I said, I'm going to be outside anyway, and it's overcast. I just don't want to look like like as congested as sometimes I feel. So um, there are people who actors. Like I take a script from actors and musical theater types. Like they always are auditioning for things. They have an office. They have, yeah, they got agents and stuff like that, but there are things around that now. You can be your own agent. You could be your own manager. Okay, I've never had a manager, y'all, and I don't want to be signed. And that's something else. I was talking to a podcaster last night. It's like I don't want to be signed. If you really knew what it was like to be a signed artist, you wouldn't want to be signed either. Okay, you got to know what those contracts are about. People show it's like basically being yeah, you're an employee of the record label. They give you some upfront money and make it seem like you're doing something, and then you got to pay that money back. And if it's through the music, you're getting not even pennies on a dollar. You're getting partial pennies on a dollar in a lot of cases. So you got to pay that money back to them. They are basically just a bank. Okay? And if that's the case, then do it yourself, y'all. Do it yourself. Okay? A lot of content creators are doing it themselves. And I want to help a lot of performers who are in the real world doing real world things be able to um, bring more of a combination in. Because I see that there is a creative economy right now with content creators who they do awesome work on social media, different platforms and stuff like that, and they're getting their things out there. There's some of us who have done nothing but real life stuff, and they're still not really used to being on social media. And what does that look like? Is it just me doing my thing, or is it more? And then then there's those who do toe the line in the middle, right? And I'm again saluting them. They are figuring it out. There's some folks who are getting it. um, One of my former students, music students, he is in an, I'm trying to remember exactly what the type of rock he does. Is heavy, is super heavy, screamo rock. But I'm so proud of him. I guided him when he was in high school, and I even helped him get like a teaching job, while he's not touring. But yeah, they've been touring part of the country and stuff, and he's got this following. It's amazing. I'm so proud of him. And yeah, it's doable out here, y'all. It's very doable. I do what a lot of people are not willing to do, and it's not that hard either. But you also have to have the mindset for it. So as much as there are social media people doing their thing, and they've got millions upon millions of followers and this and that, imagine what you do out in the real world, and you are face to face with your audience. I do that. And I've had people say crazy stuff to me, do things not to me, but I, sometimes feel endangered, sometimes have laughable moments, somehow have tender moments. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. You definitely gotta have to have a poker face and strong will to be able to do it all. So there are people who want to, get more out there in the real world with their gifts. And some people are totally fine, just doing what they do on camera. And again, I'm just trying to make sure I don't look sick. um, and it's it's very interesting. Let me put my glasses back on. So I'm gonna grab some eyeshadow. So I might leave the camera, but I'm still here. I'm still here. I promise. And I want to build my following here. So I've done a lot of stuff on Facebook, and I've been in a couple of groups coaching people, and came to realize, like, okay, yeah, there's all these performers in real life, but yet somehow they're missing this other piece. And even when I was giving music lessons in music store, um, and this is before the shutdowns, I would get, again, musicians coming to me, but then they're missing certain pieces in their arsenal of being a performer that is very, very important to have. You like your mindset, quite honestly, right? Like I've had students come to me sometimes that had church drama, like I came for singing lessons, but really my choir director told me that I'm out off key when really your choir director has emotional issues, it sounds like, so and then there's other people who've come to me who wanted to be on American Idol. I think that's still a thing. I kind of don't really watch that stuff. um, but then they come to me like 1 month before their audition and think that something's going. I mean, there's work to be done, definitely. There's some things to be done. If they haven't already studied with someone, and worked with a coach, there are things that can be done if you have natural talent. But if you have nothing, zero, and then you think a lot of this stuff is staged, I'm just gonna be honest, y'all. If you're watching these shows like American Idol, The Voice, a couple others out there, a lot of it is so staged. They know what they're doing, and they just create these other storylines around it to make you feel like, oh. And the thing is, you can do it, but a lot of the people who say for The Voice, for example, because I can speak to it, I know this because second season or third season, I think, I'm not sure, but me living in Atlanta, me being in the local music in like music scene, there was a call out for like musicians in the area. They wanted musicians who were already musicians and already doing stuff to come and audition. I chose not to because I already saw what was going on. It's like, mm, I don't know. And yeah, some people use it as a stepping stone. Now, if somebody was going to, like, without an audition, just make me, like, put me on TV or something, okay, I'm cool with that. But I'm not wanting to leverage my gifts to benefit somebody else's agenda. And that, I feel like The Voice is doing that. It is not, and same thing with American Idol. There are people who go on those shows, but it's really about those judges. Those are the stars, not the people. Okay? And that's not fair. That's not fair to the people who really want to make a living doing this, and they just still try to make it this so mysterious, mystique type of thing when really it's kind of just not. You got to have a business mind, okay? And you've got to have, a tough skin too, okay? So I'm going to get my stuff. All right, so yeah, so you've got to have a business mind, and you've got to have a tough skin. You got to be ready for criticism. So I am wearing. I'm gonna be wearing. I've already have my skirt on. Let's see if I can get it into the camera. Yeah. So I have my skirt on already, and then this is my robe. But I'm thinking because it's overcast, I can go a little red, little beigey red, orangey. Let's do a little orange. Yeah, a little orangey red. Okay. So yeah, there's so many people who are doing really well right now on social media who, if um if they were trying to do it, this is where that's why I keep saying this gatekeeper foolishness that people keep talking about. They're just using the word and they don't really know what that means. Um, there are some people who would have never gotten a chance. Now that is gatekeeping. So I will give one props to one particular. I can't remember her name, but it was a lady that was on America's Got Talent. She was like a lady in her 40s, and she like if you've ever seen um, Keeping Up with Appearances. I know I'm such a nerd. Yeah. So Hyacinth, if you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, so she kind of looked like Hyacinth, and I can't remember her name. It's Boyd Boyle, something like that. So yeah, they totally judged that woman by her looks. Like people don't have voices. And then the moment she opened up her mouth and started singing, they were like shocked and stuff. I'm like, y'all, calm down. Really? Really? Yeah. So that's what really bugs me about it. It's like this whole idea of people have to look a certain way to be talented, and people have to do. No, you don't have to do anything but be yourself. That's what you have to do. Be yourself, and someone will find you. Find your people. Okay. So again, I'm just slapping this on. I'm not a makeup person. I use it as a tool. And my alarm might be going off soon anyway. So yeah, so I'm on a timetable. So I had a little bit of lunch. So I eat small meals before I go, and then I have to bring plenty of water with me and all that good stuff. So I can't remember her name, that woman. So yeah, so it was like, how are y'all judging this woman when, I mean, I studied voice. There are people in the opera scene who are 60, 70 years old still performing as an opera singer. There are people in musical theater up until their 80s still performing. So this is like, I just don't understand the closed mindedness and that's gatekeeping. Keeping people closed off to the reality of what they can do. That's gatekeeping, in my opinion. But the information is out there. How to do it is out there. There are some people who are afraid when they are presented with the way, and that is where the mindset comes in. It's like, you got to get your minds right. There are people who are amazing, amazing, super talented performers, no matter what their age. And they're afraid because they're too busy listening to other people say, oh, well, you're too old. I'm like, honey, no, you're not. You are not. They are too old for saying that. And again, I'm not a makeup person. I just throw this stuff on. But and I learned how to do this in theater. But but yeah, so that's my mission when it comes to being a performer, and you'll see more videos, hopefully like this. And like I said, I coach people still. I don't necessarily give music lessons anymore because the information is out there. It really is. And I feel like if you're really ready to go to those next levels, yeah, you have to have a team. And that's what those other people, when you see them on TV, they have a team. They have these things. They have these people, okay? And it's not this whole like rags to riches thing. It's like we've got to get rid. Now that's the myth. Like mm, limiting beliefs are the gatekeeping. Okay, that's what it is, in my opinion. All right, so maybe going a little lighter too. So that's the gatekeeping, in my opinion. When people, convince others and they convince themselves that they're too old, they can't do it, it's too late. It's never too late. As long as you're alive and breathing, it's not too late. Do it. Do it. Okay? It's never too late. And there had been some memes going around that, especially Life of an Artist. I'm like, come on, y'all. Y'all need to let that stuff go. Let it go. Let it go. This is my pep talk. Normally, I would be listening to music as I prepare, get my voice ready. Haven't had my tea yet, but I need to drink some tea. I've hydrated pretty okay. I still need to have a little more hydration. Um, stretch. Sorry, stretching. So yeah, so that's what I feel like. It's like that's the real gatekeeping. It's like some people, especially, I am gonna, open up more on different things like TikTok. Um, I pop over there every once in a while. Try not to just be a looky loo, but I just, I'm doing my thing, and I don't have time to just sit there and looking at people do stuff like that throughout the day. And one thing I am hearing um, from other creators is a lot of the comments that come out of people's mouths like, oh, you're gatekeeping. I was like, do you really know what gatekeeping is? Okay. So gatekeeping is when you are a black child in the South, wanted to learn how to play guitar when you're 15, and you got to do it through a book, and nobody's ever seen a black girl child play guitar, and they keep telling you you can't do it. And the only other guitar player they've ever seen before is Tracy Chapman. Oh, you try to be Tracy Chapman. And or your own, friends and family is like, this that part didn't really happen to me. But yes, I, learned how to play guitar when I was 15 or started to, and started taking voice lessons soon after that for myself because I knew I wanted to be a performer, and I knew it was going to take some things. Okay, it's not just like a pie in the sky. I used to watch all these movies of like various biopics of certain stars. And of course, there's that, they get into the drugs and stuff and they try to make it a cautionary tale. I saw it as we could do better than that. Okay? We don't have to fall prey to some flim flammer out there. We don't have to fall prey to the drugs and the alcohol. We could do better. It is a job. We don't have to be doing all the stuff like that. And that's where I'm coming from. It's like, it's a job, y'all, and it's a worthy job. It's a wonderful position to be a creator and to be an educator and to, to entertain people and do it in a healthy way. You don't have to fall prey to all that stuff. And that's, basically what I'm saying. So again, dressing up my eyes. Like, I like doing my eyes, even though I know it's in the end going to be, a thing. And then getting work, again, that's back to that LinkedIn. So that's where I strongly suggest creators go. Please get a LinkedIn profile, okay? Because that's really where all the industry people are anyway. And if you want to go do your homework there. They have, people in. If you were interested in record labels and stuff like that, publishing, please, copyright, all that stuff. Please educate yourself, okay? Definitely in those arenas. So it just breaks my heart when I am, like I said, out in public spaces. I'm getting paid handsomely to do basically practice in the real world. That's really what I'm doing. Just practicing my music in the real world. People just happen to be seeing me. And they come up, some people, talk and they say, "Oh, you're so brave," or, "Oh, I can never do that. I'm too old." And I try to convince, like there was this one woman a few years ago. She said, "Oh, I used to write music and I wish I'd stuck with it and stuff." And I'm like, it's not too late. It's not, people still write. It's not an age, you don't age out of writing. Okay? You don't age out of writing. But then she came with the excuses. She came with the beliefs, and she came with the hurt that she had. People, bogging her down and telling her like, "No, you can't do it. You're this, you're that." And I'm like, that again, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And that's why I did go into education with that. Like, it kind of went in reluctantly too. So I can tell you a little story time around that. So I was, performer. I was also doing my day job, and I was in school at the same time. And so one of my performer friends, she was also into music education, just, and that's, believe it or not, you'd be surprised how many of us end up like teaching sometimes. I can list off of, several educate, not educators, but musicians who also teach. There's a lot of that going on. But so she, in her downtime, she goes and she teaches lessons, right? And so she had such heavy like roster, like she just had so many clients that she was like, "Oh my gosh, I need your help." At first, I was reluctant, but then, like I said, I was in a situation where I just got laid off from my day job. I was in school at the same time, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I do need the money." So it was a way for me to, have the money I need while still continue to practice my craft at the same time, really. So in order to teach, you got to be able to be strong in what you know how to do, right? So again, this is not a makeup tutorial. I'm laughing because I'm like, some people are, I'm sure they'll be like, okay. Um, and I get my makeup super cheap. But I do invest in one product, and I'll put it in the link in the description. But everything else, I just go to the store, whatever. I don't really care. Um, but yeah, so she was overflowed, with clients, and so she was like, I need your help, and so I stepped in and picked up some of her students and picked up a few more students. Next thing you know, I'm doing it. I was doing it, oh my gosh, all the way up until 2020, like what, almost 10 years, while still doing my music, Nerd Queen, right? And then, even then, um, I stopped for a little while. I was stopped as in performing because I was doing so well with giving lessons. I was doing pretty okay and learning how to, maybe navigate between the two without actually even having a 9 to 5. And that's how I know. So I was one of those who got laid off in 2008. Yeah, we remember. And, those times were hard, those times were rough, but it gave me so much, that I use even today, that helps me. Oh gosh, it's almost 2. All right, so like I said, I'm just playing around at this point, so I just want to make sure that, my face doesn't look crazy. I'm gonna set my makeup now and maybe do my, well, I set it first and then I do the eyelash stuff. I don't wear real mascara, so it's just to separate what I already got, cause honey, I got eyelashes. I don't need extra. I don't need more. I just need to get them tamed. But anyway, yeah. So I've been giving advice and lessons in music and as a creative for almost 20 years. I mean, not 20, almost 10 years, and then being a performer for almost 20 years. And I've learned a lot, and I'm so glad that there are no gatekeepers. That's why I keep saying it. It's just so funny that people keep using that word now, when really some people are being lazy. Okay, some people are just being lazy. They just want somebody to tell them exactly what to do, and then they still won't do it. So that's another thing that I've learned over the years. It's like when they try to trigger you by saying, "Oh, you're just being a gatekeeper. You're not trying to help me." You tell them exactly what to do, right? And they still won't do it. They still won't do it. Yeah, that's the sad part. It's like it's not magic, y'all, but it is magic. It's magic because you gotta get your mind right. All right, so I'm gonna set my makeup. And again, I don't really, like I said, the one makeup that I am quite loyal to is, I'll put it in the description, is my foundation. Everything else, I just like whatever. I just wanted to, let me move my glasses out of the way. So I have to leave in about, oh gosh, in about 20 more minutes, so I can be on time to the gig in real life. Okay. Hold on, let me close my eyes. I might hit another layer too in a minute after this one dries. Um, so I've kind of semi-packed the vehicle already. I Oh yeah, so CDs. I have CDs out there. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple. I'm all over the place. Just Google me if you are interested in digital music of mine. I am not for everybody. I do experimental avant-garde music. Okay, I am not for the masses. I am not for the culture. Sorry, I am not. I am a composer. I don't make product. I make art. Um, so yeah, if you liked this. Let me know. Put it in the comment section there. I'm gonna go ahead and end this. I can go on forever, quite honestly. I might pop on later, afterwards, just a quick with the camera. I do plan on doing another live while I'm on location. So I tend to, and I used to do this a lot on Facebook. So I'm trying to. It's a lot of footage though, so that's the tricky part. If you want to see me doing my gig um, live in the past, like I first started working for this entity in 2016. I want to say, I think 2016. Yeah, and I used to go live on Facebook doing it, but I think I'm switching over now to YouTube only because I feel like it's easier, it's more accessible to more people. Um, Last time I did it, it was kind of fun. I did have some people just pop up who I don't even know who they were, even virtually, just like in the real world. I don't know who's out there. Like they sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. It's whatever. It's fun. It's wonderful. So yeah. So I'll see you on location. All right. Take care. Bye.